What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Highbury Standard. I've been putting off this video for a very long time because I honestly didn't really know what the hell I was going to talk about. But I had a comment in one of my last videos from the dumb programmer 123, great name by the way. But he basically asked me like, who's on your shopping list? And he said, mine are Rogers, Krupi, Buati, Barcola, and Scott. And I thought about that. Like I genuinely really thought about it, and then I realized that like I generally have no idea. And the reason for that is that I haven't the faintest clue how Arteta is going to play next year. I have no idea what our best 11 is. I have no idea what our best system is, what our best formation is, what our best, combination of players are. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know who's going to start for us up top, because literally who's going to be our number 9 next year is going to ultimately determine how the squad plays. Because everybody knows that when you play with Victor Gyökeres, it requires you to play a very different system and with a very different set of players than when you play with Kai Havertz. And that in and of itself is a problem, because when a single like for like substitution in terms of position requires you to change the system in its entirety and change the profile of players and the personnel behind them, you essentially have two different teams in the squad. And you can't be doing this constant, chopping and changing. One of the reasons why a team like PSG is so good is because they have a very clear, established starting 11. They have a very clear, established style of play. And whether players come in and out, the system in and of itself doesn't change too drastically, just very minor tweaks. Now, a squad can allow for different profile of players so that you can take different approaches in different games and you can switch things up tactically. That's all fine. But that's more so about identifying players who are technically gifted enough and also have a very high football IQ that can carry out very different roles on the pitch. That's more about identifying that profile of player. But Gyökeres and Havertz are two completely different number 9s. Trossard and Martinelli are two very completely different profile of wingers. And Martin Odegaard and Eberechi Eze are two very different profiles of number 10s. Odegaard is much more of a creative player who likes to collect the ball deep. Eze is more of a, late runner into the box, a little bit more of a final third operator, a little bit more of a moments player. He doesn't give you that same kind of control in the middle of the park. And so it's very difficult for me to analyze this squad and be able to say, okay, this is how we're going to play next year. This is the main personnel. This is our best starting 11. Okay, which positions are the ones that need upgrading? Where are the positions that we need to kind of add squad depth to? I can't tell you that, because I don't know where a Morgan Rogers fits into this team. I don't know where an Alex Scott fits into this team. I don't know. We're even linked to a Bruno, for example, who's a holding midfielder, and we have like 5 of them in this squad. Like, so I don't. Well, why are we linked to him, who's 28 years of age, for 50 million pounds? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what Arteta's best team is. I don't even have the faintest clue how he wants to play next year. So how can I come on here and talk about the players that we're linked to and the rumors and what makes sense and what doesn't? I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. And the thing is that we signed Victor Gyökeres for 70 million pounds because he was supposed to be our main guy. He was going to be the one who was going to be leading the Arsenal front line. But then in the biggest game of this club's, history in the last 20 years, Mikel Arteta's biggest game in his career, he decides to play Kai Havertz up top, and he scores. And so, like, that is the perfect kind of illustration of what our issue is. Because is Arsenal really the kind of club that's going to drop 70 million pounds on a striker and then offload him the very next year? No. Are we the kind of club that's going to drop 55 million on Madueke and then offload him the very next year? No. We're not that kind of team. We've never been that kind of team. We never will be that kind of team. And I don't think it's wise to be that kind of team either, whether I despise these players or not. So it's like you're kind of stuck with them. So when Gyökeres is your marquee signing, but the coach, or the manager rather, plays Kai Havertz in the biggest final that we've had in the last 20 years, like what does that tell you? That is a very serious problem. And I'm just so frustrated and confused because this entire squad has been a problem. Gyökeres was signed as our main striker, but he doesn't play the Champions League final. Havertz was originally signed as a number 8, but he ends up being the striker. Madueke was originally signed as a left winger, but then we moved him to be the backup to Bukayo Saka. Eberechi Eze was also signed as a left winger, but then we moved him into the number 10 position. Skelly was originally a midfielder, but then we moved him back to left back, and then we moved him back into the midfield. Milko Marino was originally signed as a number 8, but then we started playing him as a striker. Declan Rice was originally signed as a 6, but then we moved him to the 8 because we had to move Havertz into the 9, and now we moved them back into the 6, even though we originally bought Zubamendi as a 6 to keep Rice in the 8, but now we're moving to Bemendi to the 8. So it's like this constant shuffling and moving around of players that like I don't know what anybody's role is. I don't know what anybody's best position is. I don't know what our best combination of players are. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I saw us playing really good football with Gyökeres, Trossard, Saka, Eze, Skelly, and Rice. And then I saw us switch it up and play with Havertz, Trossard, Saka, Skelly, Odegaard, and Rice. I then saw in one game we played with Calafiori, and another game we played with Nkapie. I see in one game we play with Martinelli, and another game we play with Eze, and another game we play. It's this constant chopping and changing and chopping and changing, and that's why we went into a Champions League final and you asked 10 Arsenal fans, what's our best 11 for this final? And you got 10 different answers. Nobody can tell you a back four, a midfield three, a front three. It was 10 different answers. And even now, it's 10 different answers. And so how can I, a fan, sit here and talk to you and waffle about for 20 minutes about our transfer targets and analyzing our players and this and that when I don't even know what formation, what system, or who are the untouchables when Mikel Arteta is constantly chopping and changing the players, the rotations, the system, the formation from game to game. How can I? How can I? And I think truly where it starts is by first identifying who's going to be our striker going into next year, our undisputed striker that's going to be playing almost every single game. Who is going to be that guy for us? Because once I know that answer definitively, then I think it's a lot easier to be able to assess who plays in behind him. It's a lot easier to assess who are going to be the wingers and who is going to be the midfield profile of players that can complement that striker. And until I know that for a certainty, I really can't come out here and talk about what I think we should do or who my targets are or what I think about some of the players that we've linked to. I can't. I can't. I just can't. It wouldn't be right. So all I can say right now, guys, is the following. I don't really give a rat's ass who we've been linked to. Once a player is signed, I will try to make sense of the signing. I will give my thoughts on the player, his attributes. I will try to make sense of where he fits into the side. I will try to piece together what Arteta is trying to do. But as of right now, I'm enjoying the World Cup. I'm not paying too much attention to the transfer rumors. Sometimes there's something, sometimes it's nothing. It's often a lot of hoopla. I can't really make sense of it. But I would love to know if anybody at all has any clue exactly what's our best 11 today, right now, what style of play Arteta wants to play, what formation he wants to play, and if that makes it easier for us to kind of actually understand some of these rumors and some of these transfer links and where they fit into the side. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know where a Morgan Rogers fits into the system. I don't know where a Bruno fits in here. I don't know where an Alex Scott fits in here. I don't know where a Cooper fits in here. I genuinely don't know. And if you guys do, please let me know because I would love to hear it. But as of right now, for the first time in my life, I am absolutely clueless regarding what the needs of this actual squad are. Truthfully, I am clueless. And I'd rather come out here and be honest and to waffle and say nothing of substance. So yeah, I had to make a video about it because, I needed to respond and I needed to do something. But outside of all things Arsenal, as I mentioned, I started up a new channel. It's called the Nope on Knowledge podcast, where I'm talking all things football. I've been covering the World Cup with myself and a good friend of mine. So if you've liked my thoughts, if you liked what I've had to say on here, especially after games and do the analysis, I'm dropping a lot more content in the FIFA World Cup. I'll put a link in the bio below. Go ahead, check it out. Leave us your thoughts there. We'd love to talk with you guys, not just Arsenal, but all things football as a proper fan. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think. And of course, I'll be dropping more content as the summer months come along and as we make signings and get more rumors and some more concrete kind of understanding of what we're doing and what the plan is for next year. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one.